Hello everybody, as the warning has told you at the beginning, this is in fact going to be a unique type of video. This is going to be an unscripted video in the same vein as the premium videos that I typically put up for the people who join up with my Patreon or my YouTube premium membership. So I wanted to do this video specifically because I liked the previous premium video so much, I wanted to turn it into a top 5. And thus, as such, you now get the top 5 landfall spots in Victoria 3. Now, for the sake of brevity, we are not going to include Warsangali into this list because it has already become a meme at this point. I know I include it in pretty much every one of my YouTube shorts for minor countries, and the reason why is because it makes you so dang powerful so quickly, it's effectively become the new Gaza cheese, and that's why it's not included. Anyhow, I'd like to thank all of the people who have supported me over the year. You guys truly are kings, and you definitely do keep the lights on. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment below, and make sure to include comments about what your favorite countries are to naval invade, because you know what? I can use that information. Anyhow, let's get into the video. Here we are. We are now playing as Portugal, and we've already created our lovely power block. There's just one tiny problem. We have no mandate progress, almost none in fact. That is very sad. It brings very little joy when you look at that, but here's the thing. It takes a very long time to get leverage on other countries, like say Sardinia, Piedmont, and two Sicilies, to get a minor or major power into your power block. That is not fun. So what do you do when you really want those mandate points, when you have, I don't know, a lot of infamy just laying around doing nothing? Well, you're generally going to be looking towards South America, aren't you? And that is why I think, oh, well, you're going to want to take Argentina, you're going to want to take Chile. There's just one problem. We only have 7 Navy. Uh-oh. So do I really want to make more Navy? You might have a hard time taking Argentina. It says 7 battalions, but by the time they build up their spare troops or conscripts, it's going to be around 9 to 11. You might not actually win the naval invasion. So instead of making more Navy, which you don't probably need this super duper early on, I mean, what you might want to do instead of directly attacking Argentina and using them as landfall, or even attacking Chile and using them as landfall, is why don't you put a declared interest down on Brazil? Now, we're going to unpause really quickly. You can go through a single month so that we can get our lovely declared interest down on Brazil. And the reason why we want to do that down on Brazil is because there's a little country here called Uruguay. And Uruguay, at best, has 5 battalions, and sometimes they don't even raise up all 5 battalions. Sometimes they go down as low as 3 battalions because they can't really afford to maintain 5 battalions. They're kind of very weak. So what I have gotten into the habit of doing is using Uruguay to get landfall to attack Argentina or Brazil. It is much easier to take out Uruguay than it is any other country in the game. Yeah, sometimes they'll get the United States to help them. Doesn't even matter, because guess what? You'll conquer Uruguay before the United States could even send anybody else out to help. So you're just going to, create an entirely new group here. We're just going to put, I don't know, 4 and 3. That'll work, right? I think that should. Now we could probably give them a quick mobilization, make sure that they're actually decent, upgrade to the cuirassiers, and that will be it. We will be able to come for Uruguay without much of an issue. I don't think anybody's going to join into this one. Sometimes, again, the United States will join in, but it doesn't matter even if they do join in, because again, United States is a particularly small army, and you're not going to have a direct front until you do your naval invasion, which means they're not going to help against the naval invasion. And once you win the naval invasion against Uruguay, you effectively take it over, you conquer the entire state, it becomes yours, and it's over. That's all there is to it. That's why it's such a good idea to do a naval invasion for a single state like this, instead of, say, like Argentina, because if another country joins in on Argentina, well, guess what? You can take the single state, which would probably be like, it'd probably be their capital here, right? It says Argentine Confederation. That's weird to me. But yeah, you could take their capital here, but even if you take the capital, you're still going to have a front here that other countries can join in against, and they can literally push you out. But against a single state country like Uruguay, yeah, the moment you take the country, it becomes yours. all you gotta do is sit here and watch. It'll showcase to you just how quick this goes. What are we, 6 months in right now? 7 months in? Yeah, this is how fast it's going to be. Oh, are we on attack mode? Good. Just gotta make sure we're on attack mode. Yeah, and they, yeah, we got pretty bad offense, unfortunately, but we're still pushing them back, and yeah, that's it. They're done. Uruguay is done. Now, imagine if we tried doing it against Argentina. They got 12 battalions, and we still have that pitiful offense. They would have beaten us. But now that we have our lovely, lovely little land border with Argentina, well, now we can put our declared interest down on here, and we can directly go for Argentina with the land border using all 21 of our troops. We'll probably have to fix our convoys first, but even then, it doesn't really matter because we should be able to swarm them down just with numbers alone. And that, my friends, is why Uruguay is number 5 on this list. Here we are now playing as Sweden. I know, probably not the type of country that you would think as particularly colonial, but a lot of people do like to play Sweden. Very, very trade heavy, and what country is better for trade than Great Qing? Well, let's say you actually want to make a land border with Great Qing, or even better yet, get a direct land border with Great Qing so you can attack them and take a treaty port before the Opium War is over. Well, that means you're going to have to do effectively a day one, well, technically a month one war with, well, a country that's really close to Great Qing. Well, there's one tiny little problem. The countries by Great Qing are really, really hard to get to for Sweden, or they're really, really powerful, like, say, Russia, or even if you attack Joseon, you're going to have to go through Great Qing to get Joseon. So who does that leave? That leaves Burma, which unfortunately is very, very strong, or Dynam. Now, Dynam actually is even stronger than Burma. So you might actually have a hard time taking them on as Sweden. But there's just one little thing about Dynam that actually makes them weaker than Burma. Believe it or not, Burma, despite having lower battalions, is harder to take than Dynam. And the reason why is because of this lovely, lovely little state down here called Cambodia. Now, Cambodia is a tributary of Dynam. They are dragged into every single war, but again, if you are going to go through with this method with the 18 Navy that we have here, my suggestion is to just attack Cambodia directly so you can guarantee that they're going to be involved in the war with Dynam, and then maybe protectorate Dynam or annex Dynam. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. It's your game. You play it your way. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to move our troops all the way down here. Going to split up our army while we wait for the month to spread. And I don't know how many do I want to kick out. I want to kick out 10, and then I guess maybe 2. No, it's not going to work. Ah, crud. Gonna pause for a sec. Now, we're going to set this up, and I guess we'll just put 10 out, and then 2... No, I think I'd rather have... No, I guess we don't want the mobile artillery. I think it'd be better... Oh, yeah, I think it'd be better this way. With the spread of the Lancers, I think the Lancers are a little bit better than mobile artillery for offense at the beginning, particularly because of the battle occupation. I find the kill rate to be very nice, but it's not everything. The devastation kind of helps a little bit. It prevents them from recovering faster, but beyond that, I'm going to go with Lancers for this lovely little play that we're doing right here. And what we're going to do now is we're going to, I don't know, we could transfer the country for something super duper cheap. It's less likely to draw in other countries. Obviously, we don't want to bring in we don't want to bring in Denmark. We don't want to bring in India. So my suggestion is maybe use a humiliation play, because again, Cambodia is not our intended target, and they're less likely to jump into the war with a humiliation play. Other countries are far, far, far less likely to jump in with a humiliation play. Even the Dutch East Indies is far less likely to do that. So what I would do is I wait it out until maybe all the other countries that are very dangerous will be kicked out, or wait until the last second, do a little bit of cheese here. We're going to slow things down just a touch. Ding, fries are done. And then, I don't know, make Dynam a protectorate. Then you can literally force them into the war, and then they have no choice but to help you against Great Qing, so you get an extra 50-something troops off of that. Boom. We're just going to go for Dynam here. Boom. And now, nobody else is in the war except us. Now we can probably fix our mobilizations real quick. And mobilize. And is there an area closer to... nope. We're going to have to effectively do the long way. But we're fine with that. Now, Look at the number of troops that they have. You would think you'd lose this, wouldn't you? Oh my god, I only got 18 troops. They got 50 right here. Yeah, our troops are obviously better, but how much better? Well, let's go for Cambodia right now. We're just going to speed things along really quickly here. And hopefully by the time we get there, our organization will be relatively sorted out. I guess it won't. It's going to stay at the 87 range. But even then, the -9 offense, -9 defense is not going to make that much of a difference. I didn't even bother get a better general, to be honest. I probably should. I can't even get rid of this guy. I'm going to put him in defense mode. And now, look at that. We are now attacking Cambodia. But you notice something interesting when we attack Cambodia? Dai Nam is literally sitting there while we take Cambodia. And Cambodia cannot stand up to our offense numbers. They can't. Yeah, I mean, we could probably get our butt handed to us if we did a naval invasion against Dai Nam directly, because 44 troops would beat 18. But here's the thing. Now that we have landfall, we can make full use of our lovely conscripts. We can literally bring them in at this point. In fact, my suggestion at this point is to go in and hit enlistment efforts and put that down on all of your states effectively if you can. And then once you do that, you can delete this unit, bring them in. You now have 30 here, but here's the catch. We're going to add on to the number of units here. Look how many freaking conscripts we have to work with. We are guaranteed to win this war now. There is no chance that we lose this war, all because Dai Nam did not want to help defend Cambodia. Look at those numbers go up. We went from 30 to 80. This war is over. And now, once we're done with Dai Nam, we have access to Great Qing, all because of how easy that was to take Cambodia. 18 ships. We took Dai Nam with 18 ships. Usually you're going to need around 30. We did it with half the number. Cambodia is a great way to go through. Here we are. We are now playing as two Sicilies who has 8 lovely navy, but they have 30 army. That's actually kind of strong, I'm not going to lie. But unfortunately, because we only have 8 navy, there's a pretty big restriction on who we can actually naval invade. You probably could be crazy and maybe try to go for Mexico or something, but it might not work out. But let's say you want to be Scarface for this playthrough. We're going to do a little roleplay as Scarface. We're going to do maybe a mafia thing. So we're going to do the opium trade. We're going to be the bad guys, right? Well, who's a better place to go than Persia? Persia has lots and lots of opium, and I do mean lots of opium. We're just going to put a lovely little interest down there and maybe do a little unpausing so we can actually get our interest put in. But yeah, we want to go for the opium trade. That's the kind of guys that we're going to be for this playthrough. There's just one tiny problem. Persia has a big, and I do mean big, number of battalions. That is scary, and they do not always give up when you go for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 3 methods to get in against Persia, and 2 of them require 2 wars. 1 of them does not require 2 wars. Let's say, for the case of the 2 wars, you're just going for Persia by yourself. There's no involvement of Russia. There's nobody else involved. Persia's not a protectorate of Russia, and you don't have to make landfall through them. So we're not going to worry about the 1 war method yet. We'll talk about that later. We're going to talk about the 2 war method, which obviously would be going for Oman Hormuz. Look at that chance of them giving up right now. That is perfect. You won't even have to do a naval invasion if they give up. That is a great way to go. And even if they do want to fight you, they only send about half their troops to defend. You will be able to beat their irregular infantry and half of their troops, which is what could be 6 or 7. Yeah, you're going to smoke them because we are way better than irregular infantry. We got line infantry, we got dragoons. I guess we're going to have cuirassiers when we upgrade them. In fact, I'm going to do that right now because they got better offense. I don't have any good attackers, but that's okay. We'll just take this guy and make use of him. Anyhow, say you don't have any troops. Say you're a small podunk country like, I don't know, Marina Kingdom, and you just got your first interest out after 5 years of, learning colonization. You've already got your navy built up somehow, and you got 1 whopping ship, but you really want to go for Persia for some reason. Well, in that situation, go for Bahrain. Bahrain has 1 battalion. Now, unlike Oman, Bahrain is very unlikely to give up. I mean, sometimes they do. It's 15%. You could probably scare them into it if you took a couple extra, war goals like humiliation or regime change, that sort of thing. Sometimes they do give up. It's kind of like going for Sulu, North Borneo in that case, which I'm also not going to talk about in this video because everybody already knows about that. But again, that is a good way to go if you have only one ship and you're not guaranteed to smoke down Oman like you would with a country that has 8 ships. But in the case of, say, maybe Persia has already gotten taken over by Russia, well, what about Muhamarra? Muhamarra is a great way to make landfall in the event where you cannot do 2 wars. That would obviously be the case of like Russia joining a war against you and you have no direct access to anything except for maybe Kamchatka or in the east or eastern Siberia, that sort of area. What I would do in a case like that is probably go through Muhamarra. Now, Muhamarra in this case, for the sake of this video, we're going to attack them. We're just going to do a transfer on this one. You can probably try to get Persia to back down. It is very possible that they're going to back down against a country as strong as 2 Sicilies, especially in a situation like that. So maybe don't force it if you're going up against Persia. We do kind of hope that they do back down. But I'm, at the same time, for the sake of showcasing to you how easy it is for me to take Muhamarra, I'm going to force the Protectorate here. Sometimes they back down in the red zone. I'm not even kidding about that. Sometimes they back down in the red zone. But for the sake of this video, I want to showcase you how easy it is to invade Muhamarra or Arabistan or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it'll take no time at all. 11 weeks in game, that's not that long. And oh no, they already got 7 troops. What am I gonna do with my 8 troops? But that's okay because they're all irregular infantry. Look at that. Oh, they got hussars. Woohoo, hussars. Oh no, they got 8 troops, but look at that. Nobody's helping them. In fact, they didn't even send their entire troops out to help. So we're going to make landfall for very, very little effort. This is going to be the easiest landfall that you've ever did see. And it works even if Russia's in the war. Russia will not send anybody to help. I'm not kidding about that. It works great. And then you can delete your troops and you can bring in all of your lovely conscripts just like we did before. Go into, enlistment efforts, put them down, ding dong, dun dun. And now you can bring in all the conscripts that you're ever going to need. Oh my god, there's so many conscripts here. 2 Sicilies really is actually very powerful. I'm not even kidding. They have so much population at the beginning that it's super easy to get a massive amount of conscripts together. And oof. Look at that. Look at that. 17% already. Yeah, we got the huge offensive bonus. We got a huge amount of conscripts coming in. Persia has no chance. It's over. This war is over. It's that simple, and it is fantastic when it works. Okay, this time we're playing as Sardinia, Piedmont. Well, here's the thing. With Sardinia, Piedmont, maybe you don't want to go overseas, huh? Maybe you don't want to go to Qing. Maybe you don't want to go for South America. Maybe you want to just stay in Italy and you want to do a little conquest here because there are, in fact, 2 countries here that are rarely guarded. That would be Tuscany. Now, it says Tuscany has a guarantee independence from Austria. Well, guess what? They have no chance of that ever being fulfilled. The reason why is because of the huge ideological difference between Tuscany and Austria, because they have an intelligentsia leadership. They're the only country in Italy that has intelligentsia. Well, Lucca has the same problem. They got freaking petite bourgeoisie in office, which means they're also very unlikely to be guarded. Now, Tuscany has 8 battalions and they have the same type of troops that we do. They have line infantry and they have lancers just like us, which is a problem because we only have 5 ships, so we will not be able to navally invade Tuscany. So what do we do to get a direct land border with Tuscany? Do we go through Parma and Modena? Probably not, because they're going to be guarded. I can almost guarantee that Austria is going to guard them every single time because they have the same type of government and they're in the power block and all that other stuff. Good luck getting that one to happen. But there is another way. It's called Lucca. Lucca is rarely guarded. Now in this game, it looks like they are being guarded by Russia, but when it comes to Lucca, there are other methods of doing it. You can go for the treaty port, and there's a chance that they're going to give up. In fact, it's a really good chance. And even if Russia gets involved, they still might give up if you put a humiliation or if you put down a regime change on them. That's what we're going to do right now. We don't care about Russia. In fact, Russia rarely even sends their ships down here, so you can still navally invade Lucca and take it before Russia can even get involved. It is a great way to go. I know Russia's big and scary, but like I said, they don't help. In fact, sometimes they don't even join the dang war because they're still -2. Yeah, they didn't even join the war. So all of this meant nothing. It was scary looking, but that was it. That's all it was. It was just scary looking. And now, we could probably, I don't know, get them to back down. I don't know, let's humiliate Lucca. Let's put an enforced treaty down on them for tariffs or something. It'll cost us almost nothing. We could probably put another one on there to really scare them. Boom. 2 of them, boom. How about that? That's really scary, right? We're not going to enforce anything else on them. And they back down. Now, here's the catch about Lucca. This is something that people don't think about. Lucca is a treaty port already. They gave up, and they are completely annexed. They're gone. There is no Lucca anymore. Lucca is no longer a country. This right here is now Emilia, which is part of Piedmont. Sardinia, Piedmont, right here. It's Piedmontian Emilia. It's no longer Lucca. And now we have direct access to Tuscany. You want to know what's really cool about this? It's not just Sardinia, Piedmont who can do this. Pretty much any country around the world can do this. Just get a declared interest down in Italy. Take the treaty port from Lucca, and if they give up, you get the whole thing for free. And if they don't give up, I mean, Russia probably won't help them anyways. And Russia's the only one that guards them. Nobody else guards them. Even France doesn't guard them. So if Russia doesn't guard them, you get the free win usually, and it's the whole thing. You don't get part of it, you get the whole dang thing, because the country itself, Lucca itself, is literally just a treaty port anyways. It's a city-state. So that is a great method to go if you want landfall in Italy. Now here's the catch. If you're playing like, say, Mexico and you do this, you're going to get very, very, very accepted populations out of this because of the European heritage. And you're still going to get plus 40, I think, for it, which is kind of nice, right? That is actually really nice. Let's see here. Yeah, oh, plus 60. I was wrong. It's even better. I guess because of Hispanophone, right? And then you could probably go for Tuscany right afterwards, because Tuscany also is going to have the same type of great population for you. And again, they're not going to be guarded. Nobody cares about Tuscany. And you'll have full landfall in Italy. You'll prevent Italy from ever forming. And these are great states. Like, Tuscany is a good state. It really is. You get a lot of iron from it. You get a lot of sulfur from it. You get a lot of population out of it. It's almost 1.7 million. It's a great state to take, and it's free real estate. Why wouldn't you take it? All right, here we are. We are now playing as the Papal States. Now, obviously, I didn't want to have to use the day one here, because unfortunately what this is not a day one war, because it requires Central America to break apart first, and that can take anywhere from 1 year to 4 years. That is why this is number one, because this is one that a lot of people do not know about because of that fact. It's not something that shows up on the starter screen. You will not know about it until you look over there after the fact. Now, here's the thing. Papal States is actually a very strong country. Mostly because if you go into enlistment efforts, you got them put down on all of your states. Now, I obviously took over Tuscany in this playthrough, but again, just by doing that, you can now bring in a redonkulous amount of conscripts. Now, I got conscripts from Ethiopia too. Like I said, this is already a playthrough. I couldn't use a day one for this one, but look how many freaking conscripts we got here. 146 plus our 23 battalions. I think you start with 7 to begin with, but you get like 88 conscripts as the Papal States. Again, you'll have to wait a little while, so you might as well go do something else in the meantime. For this playthrough, I went for Ethiopia because I'm a cheeser. But again, for the sake of this video, I just want to show you what I would go for if I didn't go for Ethiopia. If I wanted to go for, say, accepted populations like Mexico, for instance. Look at this sexy Mexico. Look at this. Plus 40 acceptance. That's really, really good for a population. I mean, because we're European heritage, right? Maybe I want to go for Guatemala. Guatemala's got a decent amount of population, 500,000. That's not anything to sneeze at. And plus 40 from Central Americans too. That's not bad. So, but the problem is, Guatemala has 5 battalions. I've got 5 Navy, and we have the even amount of troops. Maybe I can go for like a slightly weaker one like Honduras. Obviously, I can't go for Mexico. That's going to be a problem going for Mexico. But say I want to go for Mexico. So it's either Guatemala, which has 5 battalions, which actually goes up to 7 based off of the amount of conscripts that they get, or, you see this little chunk of land right here, this little podunk piece of land? Los Altos. If you had 1 ship, you can take Los Altos. 2 battalions, okay? If you have line infantry and 1 navy ship, you win. Every single time. They cannot defend against you. This is the greatest path into Central and North America. It feels like a hidden cheat code because a lot of people don't actually know about it. A lot of people knew about Lucca and the treaty port. A lot of people, they know about North Borneo and Sulu. A lot of people know about Warsangali because I've been talking nonstop about Warsangali to the point where it just breaks people's minds. A lot of people knew about Gazachees. A lot of people even know about Dahomey, believe it or not. Dahomey's not the worst method into North America, Western Africa, but guess what? A lot of people don't know about Los Altos. And the reason why is obviously because Central America has to break apart. And people don't realize that Los Altos is so pitifully weak that you can literally take it over with absolutely no effort. And by doing that, you give yourself direct access into North America. You have a perfect springboard to take on Mexico. You see, we got a very large amount of troops, but a very pitiful amount of ships. But by doing this, we can now move our... Oh, get out of the way. Can I naval invade here? Oh, you don't have a commander here. One sec. I'm going to need a quick guy here. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to quickly move down, take out Los Altos, and navally invade in, and perfect. We have a large amount of troops, 174 if we include all of our lovely, lovely conscripts, and that alone is going to make us very, very dangerous to Mexico. But they might not back down every time. And if they do not back down, you're actually going to want to have to hit them. Well, you're not going to be able to naval invade them. They're going to be able to defend every single time with your 5 navies. And you're not always going to be in a position to make more navies in preparation for the war. So what do? You go for Los Altos, you make yourself a springboard. And look at that. That was super duper quick. Super quick. And Los Altos is toast. Who even joined? Did Guatemala join? No, they didn't even join. And even if they did join, they don't even help. Look at that. We now have a lovely, lovely springboard, and that is exactly what we're looking for. We can now disband our troops. We can put our station in over here, and now we can go for Mexico. I don't know. We'll do a liberate just country. It doesn't even matter. They might give up because we have a direct line now. Perfect. Look at this. We got a direct line with Mexico. We have so many troops in comparison to them that they are an absolute joke to us. We literally laugh at them. We scoff at them. Like I said, they might just give up. They're going to be terrified of us. And they know it. They know we're scary. We are beastly compared to them. Beastly. So let's see if I can get them to give up. If not, I mean, we still have the border right here. What you could probably do to make things go quicker is you could probably just delete your troops and move them in. I don't think I need to. I think we're going to make it regardless. But it should be very, very quick, very, very easy war, specifically because we have so many troops compared to them thanks to enlistment efforts. Yeah, it says 12% right now. That's going to change very, very quickly. In fact, I'm going to have to promote these guys so I can get more troops into every single battle. Well, I'd like to thank each and every single one of you for actually watching this far. I know it's probably a little odd listening to me effectively ramble on. It's no different than listening to me talk in one of my playthroughs or in one of my live streams. But again, I do tend to ramble in that situation, and I do tend to go off on tangents. I'm sorry ahead of time. The whole reason why I went for unscripted is specifically because I don't really have the time to do anything properly scripted today. I have a lot to do tonight, and I kind of need to get this video out the door as soon as possible. So I'm going to apologize for that fact, but I hope you enjoyed the video regardless. Anyhow, thank you for watching. Hail Hydra Cat.